Can you just go through the machinations of how you've been following Quade in Japan and how the conversation started and what's COVID related, the restrictions, etc.?
Yeah, look, obviously, we also asked a lot of questions around Quade and how he's gone in Japan. Obviously, we've seen a bit of footy. Really, the conversation started based on COVID. Obviously, Quade's been back. He's been back in training, and so we traded messages around the fact that, because of COVID and restricted numbers and movement, if we needed any other training numbers, he's more than happy to come in. And obviously, with Rabs being out long term, the conversation came to the fact that we'd bring him in for a week and cast our eye over him. Obviously, the COVID situation and getting into New Zealand's changed things, and it's created a situation where he'll now be travelling to New Zealand with us on Friday, which we're really excited about. Genuinely believe he's going to have a real positive contribution to the group.
Dave, Quade's got vast experience, 70 tests at number 10. Noah's at the other end of the scale with only a handful. Whether Quade plays or not, what sort of influence do you think he can pass on with his knowledge to Noah and just be good information as well as being up to speed if you need him to pinch it?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And obviously, we're happy with Noah. He's grown a lot through the French series, but he's a young man who is at the foot of the hill in regard to test experience. And Quade's played plenty, 70. And look, he's got a good brain, very innovative, great skill set, and getting alongside Noah, that sort of experience will be invaluable. So, we're fortunate with the timing. Quade's home and keen and available.
Hey, Dave and Quade, it's Kate Wells here from News Talk ZB in Auckland, New Zealand. I hope you guys are both well. Just wanting some clarity around that COVID situation because we're all a bit, up in the air. So did you say Friday you were coming over?
Yeah, that's the plan at the moment, Kate. Obviously, with the borders closing, we've got within this week to get all the visa stuff sorted and get over to New Zealand. So, the plan is we'll all travel Friday.
Yeah, and with Wellington not an option for that Perth test, I don't know if you're aware of Beer Varnas on that weekend. When do you expect to have some clarity around that game?
Yeah, look, there's been discussions, obviously. Look, I think Auckland's locked in on the 7th. I think Perth's locked in on the 21st. Both games are sold an enormous amount of tickets, but look, we understand the issue. The previous draw suited us, we thought, but understand that it's going to be an issue for the All Blacks if they come to Perth and then going back home and likely with us. So we understand that the game may have to be played on the 14th, but if we can't come to an agreement around that and venue and so on, then maybe it has to happen after the Rugby Championship.
Right, and how has the team dealt with this? Because obviously it's not easy, but now players and coaches, officials are all used to it, aren't they?
Oh, you just get on with it. This is what COVID's been like. You make a plan and you throw it in the bin, you start again. So, it's not going to have a massive effect on our preparation this week. We had a good training day so far today. Tomorrow's a big day. Thursday's a big day, and we jump on the plane Friday. We'll train Saturday over there and then get into test prep.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Hey, Quade, mate, I guess, did you ever think you'd be back in this position? And just from your perspective, how has it all kind of come about over the last little while?
Yeah, probably didn't ever expect to be in this position, so I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity and to be back in this environment. It's one of those things that, you just continue to work away, try and grow each day. And then, an opportunity like this has been able to present itself, and it's just a matter of making sure that you're available and you're ready. So I'm just excited at the possibility of being in this environment and being able to provide however I can, whether that's offering some support to a young guy like Noah, an exciting player, or just being around and being able to be in this environment and provide an extra voice, an extra player to be able to train and prepare the boys for whatever's next.
We see a lot of you in the gym, mate, on social media. What about actual footy skills out on the paddock? Have you been staying sharp, I guess, on that front as well?
Yeah, like been quite fortunate with the timings and stuff. Our season didn't finish too long ago. I think it's about 7 weeks since our season finished. So we went through a very, very long pre-season with COVID last year, then getting into Japan, and the season just kept getting delayed with the COVID situation there. So probably had about 12 months preparation for our season, and then to have a short break, continue to refresh the body, stay in the gym, stay healthy. But in terms of footy preparation, that's something that you always stay on top of. My two little brothers play rugby league in Brisbane, and I joined in some of their training sessions. It was just something to be able to do something with my brothers and stay connected with them, with being able to be back home and from being apart from them so long. So I really enjoyed that, and just excited to be back in here.
And when you look at a player like Noah, mate, I don't know how much of the France series you watch. What do you see? What do you like? And how do you think you might be able to help him from all your experience?
Yeah, I think that we can just continue to help each other. Even myself at 33, I'm here trying to learn, trying to soak up as much information as I can, and watching the way that he went through those test matches. He's a phenomenal player, and I know he's going to be a great player and a great asset to Australian rugby. His composure, obviously through the end of those test matches, to be able to nail those kicks at goal. So that already shows a steady resolve in the kid. And just being able to spend the day out here with him today. He's a guy that's just so eager to learn. Has a strong head on him. And he looks to be a great leader in the number 10 jersey. So I'm excited to be able to work with him, learn as much as I can as well, and just have a exchange of information and just be ready to grow myself. Also, if there's anything that I can offer him through him asking questions or anything I can see, just be ready to put my arm around him and help him out as best I can.
G'day, Quade. It's Justin here. I just wanted to ask you about the last time you played for Australia. You're still only about 29 and so much football ahead of you. Did you leave there feeling a bit empty, knowing that there was still so much left and you weren't getting the chance?
I don't think it's about not getting the chance. It's like at that time, the situation that I was in, that was that. That's in the past. And I look at that, and I went over to Japan. I had a few things happen with club football. I really enjoyed that. Enjoyed my time in Melbourne, and then went over to Japan. So there's some great experiences that I had along the way. Some great learning curves. And there's a lot of growth there for me in different environments. So in terms of feeling empty or anything, I had a lot of opportunities to fill my life with different experiences and try and grow in areas that I was falling short and I think that this opportunity, me being back here in the Wallabies, for me, I hope that it provides like a pathway or an option for people, whether it's in football, sports, normal everyday life, that if they just continue to stay in the fight, work hard on themselves, work hard on improving and growing each day, that when an opportunity like this does arise, and you're there to take it, you're there to be able to enjoy it and be present in that situation. So I'm just excited to be here, and as I said, I feel very grateful for this opportunity.
And are you hoping that this will end up being more than just a one-off? Do you have your sights set on perhaps an extended stint now with the Wallabies?
I mean, I have no expectation in terms of that. I understand, first and foremost, having the opportunity to come in here. When you're inside this environment, then you have a case to push. You can earn a spot each day by how you turn up to work. How you approach every training session, what you provide to the team, and whether that's just providing support, providing a voice, but it has to come through the work ethic you know, for me, I'm excited at having that opportunity, and so I'll just take it day by day and continue to work as hard as I can. But as I said, my life hasn't changed too much. Like what I was doing before I got the opportunity to have a coffee with Dave, you know, I was working just as hard outside of this camp. So being in here, I get an opportunity to have great facilities, opportunities to try and learn as best I can, to try and grow my game as a football player and continue to learn and grow as a person inside these walls.
Cool, thanks for that.
Quade, coming back into the squad.
Hi, Quade. Christy here.
Christy,
Sorry, reception's dodgy here, guys. Quade, just a two-part. Can you just explain how the coffee really came about? And secondly, Michael Hooper's been talking a lot about legacy. What kind of legacy do you want? You've been around the Australian system for 15 years now. So, yeah, just a little bit on the legacy you want to leave Australian rugby.
Hey, firstly, Christy, I pay for the coffee.
I did offer. Yeah, I guess with the legacy, you know, like for me, legacy comes down to a lot of ego as well. You know, so for me, I feel like, as I said, being able to be here, be in this opportunity to be able to you know, fight for a spot, whether that's in the squad, you know, in a potential game. The first challenge is being able to be ready and be in this environment. You know, so the legacy stuff will look after itself if you put in the work. You know, so if whatever my legacy is to other people, that's their opinion. You know, so for me, it's just about enjoying this time, working hard each day, and making sure that if my number's called, that I can provide and put my hand up to support this team.
Quade, coming back into this squad, I mean, there's been a fair sort of turnover since you've last been here. I know it's only been brief, but what's your reaction to meeting some of those newer guys, and sort of what's the reception you've received?
Yeah, I mean, like all the guys have been great. There's a lot of guys that I don't know, you know, but I guess that's probably an exciting part of coming back in here, you know, after being out so long, because you see a lot of guys who are great players, who have everything ahead of them, and so for me, it makes you feel like you watch them go about their training. You see things in them that you can look back and say, oh yeah, like I can help out there. I see where I went wrong at that age, and hopefully for me that's something that I can provide a voice in that position, to be able to see guys provide an example of, you know, sort of what it takes. And for me, as I said, I know where I fell short in the past, and you know, hopefully now I'm in a position that, you know, I can lead from the front in those areas and just provide a little bit of guidance there.
Wade, do you think, just about when you last played for the Wallabies 4 years ago, are you a better player now? Are you a smarter player? Where do you think you're sort of at in terms of your as a footballer?
Nah, I mean, like that. It's very hard to say. The last time I played for the Wallabies, I think I played 3 minutes off the bench against Italy. But in terms of as a person, as an athlete, through the situations and some of the circumstances I've been through, you know, I've had a great opportunity to be able to learn a lot as I've gone. You know, so firstly, being able to build my body from the ground up. You know, we've going through COVID situation. We had, I think, 10 to 11 months of time back at home from Japan, where essentially, you know, I had a great opportunity to rebuild my body, refocus, and think, okay, what can I do with this 10 months to come out of the other side a better person, a better player? You know, and so to answer your question, who knows? But again, I don't have any expectation of coming in here to try and be a better player than what I was. It's just about trying to provide now, to try and put my best foot forward and show that, you know, while I'm in here, you know, I can provide a great work ethic and great, you know, energy for this group.
Quade, for whatever reason you got thrown into a Bledisloe Cup test match in a few weeks' time, do you still feel like you've got the game to sort of get back on that bike? And secondly, do you want to give Shannon from the Home Office a shout out? Where's that citizenship stuff coming now that you're back in the Australian setup?
Yeah, like, I think firstly with the Bledisloe Cup, I think that the Wallabies have been doing great. To watch the team, how much they've been growing in the last 2 years has been something that I've really enjoyed watching. So like I said, I'll be supporting and doing whatever I can to make sure that the preparation goes well for this team. And again, if you're picked to play, then you put your best foot forward. But yeah, in terms of the citizenship stuff, that's something that I'm sure will get worked out in its own time.
Dave, can I just ask you about Quade? Having watched him from afar, I guess for the best part of a decade or more, you got to know him a little bit recently. Is there a difference between, I guess, the perception and the reality with Quade as far as you're concerned?
Oh, you've only got to listen to what he's been saying. Obviously, he's learned a lot through those experiences. He's matured. Very similar to James O'Connor. In fact, my knowledge of Quade, my knowledge of James was mostly through the media. I'd coached against both those boys and respected them as players, and so it's been good to get to know them. And certainly the conversation we had last week, I talked a lot about the importance of character in this group. We've got a young group of men who are impressionable and really need Quade to come in and be a real positive influence. And as you can tell from how he's spoken today, he's highly motivated, and we saw him running around this morning. He looked as sharp as ever to me. And I think even his voice, even the direction he's giving some of our players, it was really positive. So I'm excited how he can add to the group.
And Quade, I just wanted to ask, a couple of times you mentioned the areas that you fell short earlier in your career. Do you mind just expanding on that, some of the lessons that you learned and some of the areas where you personally felt that you fell short?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot to do with your lifestyle. And, the rugby, being an athlete, it's a full-time job. Like, as in, we have a pretty strict schedule, and everybody, no matter what, when you turn up to train, everybody gives it everything they can. But it's like, that's a certain area that you can live in. There's certain levels to it. And I think for me, the last 2 or 3 years, I've been able to push myself, and motivate myself, not to try and make a team or not to try and get any reward or anything like that. It was just about me trying to grow as a person. And I think that for me was an area that I really enjoy. So every day you had a little target to be able to set, whether it's really minute, small things, and just continue to build on them. And when you continue to pile and pile and pile, you get to a point where your normal, your everyday level, you raise that so high that that's a zone that you're living in. And so I use an example like pre-season, for example. Most people's mindset with pre-season is you get about 6 to 8 weeks of work to get to your peak. So you'll hear all the boys during pre-season talking about, I'm in the best physical condition, mental condition of my life, of my career. But that's for 8 weeks. So being able to hold that level, not just for 8 weeks, because you'll get superficial change, you'll get surface change, but being able to hold that for a year, for 2 years, and just continue to chip away at that. And then when you start living in this zone here, and that's your normal, if you drop a little bit, like we're humans, we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. If you drop a little bit, you're not too far off your peak. Now, when you raise the bar, when you're able to be around good people, when you're able to be around guys who are just as driven, if not more, then your bar raises even a little bit higher. So I think for me, some of the people that I've been able to be fortunate enough to be around, that's given me the opportunity to be able to grow and learn from a lot of the mistakes I made in the past.
on that kind of fitness and peak fitness and things like that. Yeah, we touched on it before with the Instagram, and seem to be a member of the 5 a.m. club. Are you going to kind of need the other boys to join that in camp?
Yeah, it's a bit of a brutal club, but I think we got something here, early morning training, which is, again, so I think that started about 6 a.m. this morning. So I was up from 5 a.m., moving around, come up here and try and get ready for that as best I could. But it's one of those things that sometimes you just do something that's hard, something that you don't necessarily enjoy, because it certainly doesn't get any easier. And every morning that I get up at 5 a.m. and start getting ready for training, it's tough. No ifs or buts about it. You wake up, I'll make my bed, start getting ready, go to training. And some days you don't want to. But if you don't have your day in order, if you don't stick to the things that you've wanted to achieve that day, and you get to the night time and you end up getting into bed really late, you've pushed things off, you've held things off, and you get to bed late, now you've sort of screwed up the whole thing for the next morning. So the next morning is going to be even tougher. So it's just about, for me, being able to prepare better, be able to understand that, okay, there's going to be times where things don't run smoothly, but I know even if I've got 4 hours sleep, I know that the easy thing to do would be to go, okay, I'll just sleep in tomorrow, because it's only on me. I'm basically I was here on holiday after our season in Japan, so it's easy enough to be able to go, and I'll just sleep until 9 a.m. and then I'll go to the gym. But being able to just take that hard road sometimes, wake up, go get it done, but then at the end of the day, you get that done, you're finished, you start at 5, you finish at 7:30, you've got the whole day ahead of you. So you've set yourself up for the day. And now from that point, you've got a whole day to go and achieve something else, to go set something else up that you want to work at. So I've been very fortunate to be able to go through some of those experiences, be able to learn, and we've got a pretty good crew with the 5 a.m. crew outside of here, so I'm sure that I'll be trying to build that crew up in here.
Anything else, guys?
Can I just ask one more, Dave? What is your picture in terms of playmakers? You've got Noah, Reece, Matt Tamua, and Quade there. Is that kind of the rough order?
Well, Noah's started the last 3 tests. That's fair to say that he's number one. Quade's job is to come in here and influence us as selectors. Likewise with Matt and with Reece, who's gives us great utility value. Played 79 minutes on the wing last test. So look, we'll judge on what we see each day, and who ends up starting or backing up would be based on guys earning the right to wear the jersey. So it'll be based on how they train.
Quade, can I just ask you, you've known James O'Connor for a long time. What have you thought of the way he's handled himself? And he's lived out some of the things you've talked about just there in terms of rebuilding a career or just bringing things to a different level, focusing on important things. How have you seen James' recent career unfold?
Yeah, I think that anybody who's able to, James' situation, he is at the height of his powers, and then he ended up leaving, I think, 2013 on 40 odd tests. So he had everything ahead of him. But the thing with that is, a guy's gone away and he's worked on himself, not for any other reason, but to provide himself with a better life, to be able to, and also enjoy his life. Because I think that when you're battling, when the media's on top of you, when the public's turning on you and something like that, it can be tough. Where we live in a world as a professional athlete where a lot of things are scrutinised, so a lot of things that can be very amplified. So it's a credit to him to be able to be where he is, to be able to be the man that he is, and but it's a work in progress every day. Just continuing to work at that, build at it. You don't just get to a level and say, oh, okay, I'm here, it's all good from now. It's something that you just continue to work at, stay in the fight. And So James is a great person, a great role model in that area, and I'm sure that he provides that for this group. So I've enjoyed being able to catch up with him, since I've been back, the times that I've seen him, the conversations that we've had. He's a great man, and I have a lot of respect for him.